control it.
The roof started with a series of blocks. So you can see this front section and then this side section were all put together with the rest of the car so that it all fit as one piece, and then I cut out where the panels, where the body panels were gonna go. And I spent about 2.5 months sanding down the surface of the roof, the shape, and then 3D scanning it, comparing the sides so that they were symmetrical and looking for any kind of divots or low points. And these pieces of aluminum with double-sided tape and sandpaper were really helpful because I can bend them and then follow the contour and then flip the angle and get the diagonal direction. So once all the heights are correct, then it creates a smooth contour. So I originally put down some fiberglass, just a couple of layers, and pulled it off just to see how the mold release would work. And it pulled off, it ripped off the top of the part. So this is foam, and then there's drywall filler, and then there's epoxy on top of it. And when I pulled the first mold off, all of this white is repair. And so I put fiberglass, a thin 1.4 ounce layer of fiberglass underneath, and then put several, probably 10 layers of epoxy on top of that to create a bit of a membrane. And then I sanded that smooth. So I think I'm happy with the shape, the contour of the outer surface. I can see there's a few little divots right there that I'll fill in. So the mold for this is going to be made, the center part, I'll put duct tape along the edges here, and then fiberglass here, and lipped up on the edge. And then I'll pull off the tape and make a second part on the side. And then this inside piece will be part of the main roof. So the complete surface will be one part, and there won't be any seams in the finished product. So I was hoping to put wax and spray on, prep this for making the mold tonight, but after sanding this lip, so this is where the rear hatch will go. This isn't exactly smooth, and I'm starting to get down into the layers below. So I'm going to put a layer of epoxy just to create a little bit of thickness, and then sand that smooth. Because you will see when you lift the hatch, if this surface isn't smooth, then you'll see the defects. I did spend about a week adding, you can see these markings here, I added fiberglass in here and on here to straighten the edge. I don't know if the camera will pick it up very well, to get a straight and smooth curved edge on both sides. They both had issues with the alignment, and to straighten the edge, so the part will be cut here, so I just put drywall fill to straighten it out rather than use epoxy, which would probably take several days to layer on sand and then keep going. So the mold will probably pull this off, but I can repair that later. So that's the story so far with the roof. I'm going to put some epoxy on this, maybe some tape on the edge just so that I don't have to sand that again, and then I'll wax and spray it tomorrow. This foam block with drywall fill was to create a flat, smooth, continuous surface, because this was made from several different blocks. And then cutting out the edges of the hood to put back in, and then I'll mesh the two so that the gap is the same. These quarter panels are just curing, so this one tomorrow I will take off, and then I have to make another piece in here, but this has been 6 days. I think some epoxy dripped through, so I'll have to, yeah, definitely. Just some epoxy on this lip here. I'll let that dry. Then I've got a few other things to sand down tomorrow, and then I'll wax it and put the mold release on. The doors are coming along. I straightened out this ridge along the side. So it needs more layers of epoxy, but this this ruler with sandpaper, you can see the patches where how it's uneven. That's where this sanding really helps with smooth out the surface. So I'm gonna leave that for today. I'll come back tomorrow. Reed is coming, so we're gonna pull this off. I'm gonna have to sand down the edge because this thing is just deadly. These puncture right through the gloves. This being the first mold, I'm curious when I can get it off to see what it, how rigid it is, because I'll put it back on. I'll take it off and then I can work on this surface here, put it back on, and then make this, but I'll also be able to add wood doweling or other ribs and reinforcement to keep it torsionally rigid. But it's 8 layers of 10-ounce fiberglass with epoxy, so it's probably thicker than 1/4 of an inch. So the edges are now straight and curved in a uniform arc that matches the two. So I added several layers of fiberglass here, here, and here, and then a big block, a series here to create this curvature so that it matches this one. So the body contour eventually curves upward over the rear wheels, but that took a while to get even. It's nice and smooth now. Just have to wait for it to dry, then I'll put the wax on, start taping.
Intenté descifrar el porqué ya no estás. Duele más entender que te vas sin volver. Ven, quédate que quiero intentarlo, baby. El corazón va latiendo por ti más fuerte. Ven, quédate que quiero intentarlo, baby. Baby,
And they slide down. Or maybe make a thick one. Oh yeah.
Intenté descifrar el porqué ya no estás.
I'm hoping that that these don't really wreck the parts, because there's the wax and then the mold release. You can see it's pretty close. I think there's a big, oh yeah. I think once this section goes, then it should be. Oh yeah. I think some of the cracking noise is just the air separation. put it. That looks pretty good on first inspection. Yeah, some epoxy right there. No damage to the part.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it looks good. Like this is just the PVA pulling off. That looks good.
Yeah.
And so the edge is nice and crisp. The surface is like it's got the matte finish because of the mold release, but I don't see any air bubbles, and the whole part feels like I can flex it, but
Really doesn't seem to hurt.
yeah. So I think when I put it back on to add the other side, I'll probably just put like some wood doweling and then fiberglass to hold that on, just so that it won't flex. Here's the left quarter panel mold. I'd guess it weighs 12 or 15 pounds, and the surface looks pretty good. It's still got the green mold release on it, and then I have to make another piece on the side and back. The right hand side comes off tomorrow. One more day to cure, same as the other side. And then the roof has been waxed and sprayed with PVA mold release, so this evening I will start putting on some fiberglass. I don't want any dust to settle on that because that would come through on the mold. I think I sprayed it for about an hour and a half actually. It's hard to tell how many coats are on it, but it absolutely has to be covered, because if any epoxy binds to the mold, then it's definitely not going to come off. And this is a really fragile piece, especially on the edges, and it's pretty large, so can't do too much PVA, I don't think. It doesn't add any thickness, noticeable thickness. Yeah, the roof will be good. It'd be nice to get a part and put it on the car. So that's it for now. The only damage to the mold was a piece on the bottom here that got pulled off. I can fill that back in with epoxy, but other than that, I don't see any damage to the rest of it. So I still have to finish this side, put the piece back on, and then make the other piece. Epoxy did leak through and then binds to the bottom, but that's pretty good. Took a long time to get that.